Oh my word. Guys, you have no idea what I have been through for the past few weeks. Hi guys, I'm Zach from NodeWorks Media, and in today's video, look, I finally have my block back from engineering. Firstly, a very big thank you to Micro Engineering for helping me with my block. They did a really good deal for me and everything to help me out because it's a friend of my dad's. So very big thank you to them, and so on and so forth. Now on to some story time. So I'm going to put in a time lapse quickly of my dad and I putting my crank in the block. Also some small details that I found out about my crank. So insert that now. So now, I was of the understanding, and from everything I've heard and a lot of the stuff that I've read, the Miatas, NA Miatas, came with a forged crank from factory. But I don't know if that's maybe country specific, or maybe it's the 1.8 variant and not the 1.6 variant. Because if we look at my crank, how you tell, my dad was saying, is you see how this line here, is a super thin line. That is a casting mark, not a forged mark, which means it's a cast, I assume it's iron? Yeah, cast iron crank, not a forged crank. So that's not really a problem. These engines can still get to almost 300 horsepower like on stock internals, so it's not actually a big problem. This is clearly more than enough capable for what I want to run. It's just an interesting little thing now, I'd side note, because I think a lot of people are now of the misunderstanding that it's a forged crank, same like I was, and then when we tore this out, it wasn't. So unless maybe mine was replaced at some point and replaced with a cheaper one, I don't know. I don't think so, it still looks like the stock one. But anyway, something interesting that I thought I'd just share in my video. So there we go. Now I'm going to put in a very short little time lapse of my dad and I assembling the pistons, but now there was a problem when assembling the pistons. So basically we learned when we had assembled the pistons and we put all the rings and stuff on the pistons, and then when we went to go put on that little rod that goes between the piston so that the conrod can connect to that, and then it's a little bit slidey so it can move. The pistons that we had, we actually had to cut a little hole in, because if they were low compression pistons, but they were good to fit. It's just when they didn't have their little groove, so they would hit the oil squirters. So we just had to cut a little groove so it wouldn't hit the oil squirters. No problem, we did that. But then we found out that that little sliding piece in the middle is supposed to be heat pressed in, and obviously we haven't got a heat press. On the stock pistons, if I show you quickly, you're supposed to have a little pin like that boy there. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I can't really focus the camera. Basically what happened is we didn't have that little pin, so we talked about getting like race car parts, essentially, of like little caps that you put on so it doesn't slide out and so on and so forth. There was a whole bunch of different stuff that my dad and I discussed. Eventually we'll end up just getting another set of pistons. Anyway, so put video now of us assembling the rest of my engine and putting the pistons in. Cool, great. Now that you caught up on that, even more disaster, I know. How much more could go wrong? Basically what happened is we put the pistons in. Sorry for the shaky camera. I'm sorry. Basically we put the pistons in, and then we decided, cool, let's put the water pump on and, some of the gaskets. Wrong water pump, wrong gaskets. Yep, got the wrong parts. They gave me, it was B6i engine parts and not B6ZE engine parts, because obviously Mazda back in the day used to make a whole bunch of engines based off the same block, so the B series engine was made in a variety of different shapes and sizes, and it didn't fit my B6ZE, this gasket that we got for B6i don't know what that actually belongs to, but anyway, the B680 essentially, I didn't have the right parts for it. Anyway, so we phoned my dad's friend back to say, listen, all the parts are wrong, all the gaskets are wrong, we need new gaskets. Now, this is, so I've been away for a week. That's when episode 3 went live. I went away. Then, episode 4 went live. I was away for that on holiday. I had a very nice time, thank you. Then, last week is finally the week that I got back and I was supposed to start building the engine. And at that point, I had 2 videos on reserve. It took an entire week to be able to sort out the endeavors of between the pistons and all the gaskets and stuff being wrong. So in short, I'm now pretty much on schedule again. You guys are pretty much completely up to date on what's happening. I think just a slight week behind, like half a week behind, if that makes sense. Although we should make good progress now and be able to get ahead of videos again. But anyway, moving on. Finally got our gaskets back and we checked this time. And as we can see, I got some really good gaskets, just because of all the hassles and stuff. They ended up getting Victor Rein's gaskets, which are apparently really good. So there we go. Now we've got really good shit that's going on my engine. There's still a lot that has to be sorted out that I've been panicking about. My clutch is busy being done. Thank you to Full Race Engineering for helping with that. I still need to find engine mounts because, like I showed in one of the tearing the engine apart videos or taking the engine out, the engine mount, one of them tore. So I still need new engine mounts. The clutch is being worked on, and my exhaust manifold for when I have the turbo on, that dude phoned me and he told me that basically when it was supposed to be done, I was messaging him and he said no, he hasn't even started it. So huge delay on that front as well, but I mean my engine's been delayed anyway, so it doesn't really matter. In short, whole process is taking slightly longer than planned, but it is what it is. We're still making exceptionally good progress. Anyway, finally continuing with the rest of this time lapse in this video on getting this rest of this engine assembled. So see you guys then. Okay guys, so quick little intermission here. Basically my camera died, so apologies, but we got a little bit more progress done. As you can see, the cams are now on, as well as the cam gears. And then my dad and I were busy looking at the new pulleys, the tensioner pulleys? Okay, tensioners. So this is one of the old ones. I know it spins nice and smooth still, but if I give it a... I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up, but as you can hear, it's quite noisy. You don't have to try to focus on the top. They're quite noisy. These are the new ones. A lot stiffer, but still very smooth and no noise like whatsoever. So that is why my dad made the very good judgment call to replace those, because it's just the small details of those things that make the engine not make those weird little noises on the side that you're not really sure what it is. Now it'll be silky smooth, super it'll just be grand. Anyway, so that was just a short little update. We're going to continue powering on. I don't know how much battery this thing actually has, but we're going to continue powering on for a little bit more, although we're probably going to call it for the day soon. We just want to cover the cams so no dust and stuff gets there. But yeah, see you guys now. Okay guys, and that is going to be it for this video. We got a little bit of progress done, and then my dad and I realized that we did a dumb thing. We forgot this plate before we put the cams on. Now this plate does a thing and it needs to be on. So we've taken off the cams, they're back over there, and we're going to put that on. But before we put the cams, it looks like we have to put the thermostat, which is a problem because the thermostat is one of the pieces that needs to be tended to, let's put it nicely, because of the rusty outlets and water lines, the little nozzles, the little nipples. So we are going to have to sort those out before we can pretty much proceed for the rest of our engine. My engine. So, is what it is, and I suppose that is the end of this episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like down below and a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Cheers.